Welcome back to Z to Z. If you're the first time listener to this podcast, we are a franchise podcast that is focused on providing information to Z's by Z's. So this month, we're at the tail end of the Hispanic Heritage Month, which started September 15th and ends this Sunday, October 15th. And as a member of the Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council, I always wanted to do something special with the group. And I'll obviously get them on the show as well here on Z to Z. So long story short, last week, the council was invited to the IFA headquarters in Washington, D.C. for meetings. So I thought, what a better place to record the show while in D.C., right? We had everybody there, so why not? We had a very productive meetings with the IFA team that ended very, very well. And at the end, we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month with the IFA team and guests from the D.C. area. There were so many people from all different cultures that supported our mission and continue to support our mission and just were so kind. Thank you, Team IFA, for your support and hospitality. We really do appreciate that very, very, very much. And but I'm thrilled to have the members of the HLFLC on the show. Sadly, one of our members wasn't able to attend, but he was most certainly missed. And you know who you are. So you're going to hear lots of fun, lots of laughter. We had a great time recording the show there at the headquarters of the IFA. But at the same time, the council offers some great insight on Hispanics in franchising. So let's get started and let's talk Z to Z.
Well, the Hispanic Leadership Franchise Council.
There you go.
There you go.
It really is. It really is.
Well, no, we put it together. It's basically a bunch of entrepreneurs in franchising, Latino entrepreneurs in franchising, working together on a volunteer basis to bring the franchise system to our community. We have a lot of Latino entrepreneurs that are very successful, but they just get stuck on one store when they could take advantage of the franchise system to scale their business to a different level and share whatever they created with people across the country or the world.
Right. So, and that's now I understand the little history is that you presented this idea to Matt, the CEO of the IFA.
Yes, I did. That was back in last year, 2022, because the audience didn't represent what the USA really is.
Right.
We're talking about 20% of the U.S. population is Latino. Right, close to 70 million Latinos. And when I went to that conference, there were like 2 or 3 Latinos out of maybe 3,500 people.
Right.
And all of them were franchise owners. So I say there is something wrong here. And I'm glad that the IFA really listened to us and created the council.
Right. No, and I'm excited. I'm excited that I was able to get involved thanks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I kind of want to shift the discussion to our fearless leader, Erica Garza.
Yes.
She is the chairperson for our council, and wanted her to say a couple of things about the council and what we're planning on doing.
Today is just a really exciting day. I mean, the fact that each and one of us lives in different states, and we're all reunited here in Washington, D.C. at the IFA offices. Obviously, we came to talk about business and planning, strategic planning for the remainder of 2023 and coming into 2024. But most importantly, what I'm very excited about is, when this council was formed, if I'm being honest, it was a collection of strangers, right? What we knew about each other is that we had the commonalities of franchising. What we knew about each other is we had the commonality that respectively, we are Latinos from our own, respective language and country and heritage. So we had those commonalities, but to my pleasant surprise, what I did not know was in such a short time, we were going to have the commonality of actually forming a family.
Yeah.
And this council is considered a family. That's how I see each and one of you guys. I see each and one of you with a wealth of knowledge. I respect each and one of you, but I also know that this council goes beyond business. It goes, taking care of each other. And so first and foremost, it's an unorthodox, I think, council just because of that. But I think being Latinos and having the passion and the pride and the business acumen that each one of us has and putting that together has made this council really, really incredible. And that's what makes me incredibly proud.
And now we're working very unifiedly amongst each other. And I'm very excited to have you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate the credit, but the credit is not, deserving to me. Again, I think, and I appreciate you saying that, but I really do believe that we were all put together for a reason, and the synergy that we have has been incredible. And I see it firsthand, and I think each and one of you could probably agree with this. Whether we go to an event that we're invited to for speaking engagement, and we're part of the council, people want to befriend us, people want to be part of us, people want to have conversations further than just that particular event. Because I think as a council, not only do we inspire, but I think we create a community for people. And so I'm really excited for 2024 in growing the council. I'm excited for 2024 having more initiatives. I think we've done a great job of having a lot of speaking engagements, but how do we get to the next level of actually getting yourselves that are just incredibly intelligent and your success stories of passing on those tools and resources to give them that encouragement to take that leap of faith to get there to where you guys are at, which are incredibly successful.
Well, talking about success stories, we have Felipe, who is the youngest member of the council. Felipe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Louis. First, so happy to be on Z to Z podcast. I love your other episodes, and so thank you for having us. Now, just to piggyback a little bit on what Javier and Erica said, and of course yourself, Louis. I look forward to our weekly meetings, because we have built that family, right? But throughout my life, I've always felt that you're most successful when you really do engage and have that rapport. That has that family feeling. My early years, I was in banking, and, I could tell you from one banking experience to another, I didn't have that at my first bank. I'll leave the names out, right? But when I did move over, and as I was climbing the ladder in the banking before I moved over to the current role to the current industry that I'm in, I found a new opportunity, and it had a similar feeling to what we have, right? Maybe not as close, and we gotten so close so quickly. You could tell how success follows that, and it's because we like being around each other. We push each other, we motivate each other, and not just that, we support each other, and that just goes a long way, So now I'm in the HCM industry. I currently work for Paychex in the multicultural space. And looking back, I was a leader for 7 years that I ran, reps between 10 and 14 all over New Jersey. And I'm a type of person, I lead with empathy. You want to support your people, you want to guide your people, but most importantly, you want to be at the forefront and show them, hey, instead of telling them how to do it, why don't you show them how to do it, right? And you want to be there with them every step of the way. And I feel like that's what we have here, right? Our fearless leader, Erica. She's gonna roll up her sleeves and be right there with us. And I'm always so happy and proud to be part of the council.
So I'm gonna just read a statement here, and then I want to have you to answer a question. I'm gonna put him on the spot first. So one of the things is franchising offers Hispanics the opportunity to own a business, as we all know. Minorities run 19.3% of all franchises, and 5.8% of that total are owned by Hispanics. Franchising can create job growth, obviously, we know this, and attract Hispanic customers. It also can foster economic growth and positive community development. So Javier, how, knowing and understanding the numbers, and out of anybody, the numbers, you know how powerful the Hispanic Latino community is in the United States. How can we be able, as a group and as a franchise industry, attract more Hispanic entrepreneurs into franchising? What is that key? What do you think?
We need to go to our entrepreneurs. Latinos are very hardworking people, and they focus on growing their company, their businesses, whether there's a restaurant, construction companies, landscaping, any type of business. All their focus is on that specific business, and that's it. And they become very successful. But they don't still know the details on what the franchise opportunity is. And I think that the reason why we are here is because of that, to bring all the that education to many of these business owners that don't have any idea that this business could go to a totally different level by having 200-300 more stores like that, and or she becoming the person that is supervising all that. Now, we need to go to the places that usually gather all these business owners, the Hispanic chambers of commerce. We still need to sit down with them to explain to them that this opportunity is there, and I believe it is their responsibility to bring that to all their members.
No, I agree, and I tell the story way in the beginning of when I first started Z to Z. Was I was born and raised in East Los Angeles, and so when I would go down Whittier Boulevard and see these stores when I was a kid, I would see them, and it'd be like the parents own these stores, right? And then as I grow older and I began to get involved in franchising, I'd walk the same street, and guess what? It's the same store still there, except it's now owned by the kids or the grandkids of some sort, right? So what happens is their generational wealth is just stuck in one place.
Yeah.
And as I thought about this, I'm thinking, God, if they would understand and utilize the franchise model, how much generational wealth they would create for their families, not just from this one store or location, but create that multiple times over in different locations under the same demographics, 25, 50, 100 places, 100 units, very, very easily. And I know, Erica, I know that you had mentioned and I was reading something on Guillermo Perales. Yes. And he's one of the largest Latino franchisees and CEO of Sun Holdings. He said something very interesting. He said he goes, I'll read it verbatim. He says that there's not enough incentives for their teams to bring to the Hispanic franchisees. He says, I don't think they're actively seeking franchises because in their minds, it's not a big priority. He says, they don't have outreach programs to look or bring incentives to the Hispanics to bring it into the franchise system. What are your thoughts on that?
So Guillermo is the number one in first place in respect to being the largest Hispanic franchisee, which is something I think we're all very proud. That it is a Latino that holds that title. Secondly, I agree. I agree to an extent. I do believe that larger franchisors and even the smaller franchise business, have to do way better job to incentivize and to break the barriers for Latinos and quite honestly for all minorities really to get into a brand. I often find a lot of franchisors talking about inclusivity and bringing and diversifying opportunities for people to become franchisees, but it's very far. It's a limited amount that I know for firsthand experience that are actually chipping away those barriers, and that's the biggest problem, right? And it could be so many factors. I've done a lot of work on it. I've experience with it as well. It's one thing to say that you're going to give opportunities, but the bigger question is, what are you doing?
What are actually franchisors doing internally to really internalize their Hispanic initiative, to bring more Hispanics in? And most of them think, and I've said this before, most of them think that if we just put something out there in Spanish, they're doing their part. We're doing our part. Well, it's not really the case. No. In my opinion, and please, give me your thoughts on this. My opinion, I think that franchisors have to bring an intercultural environment within the organization. I think there has to be discussion on the culture. I think there has to be understanding on the culture. I think that there has to be educating their employees and their staff from the C-suites type all the way down to the janitor of what it is to employ and to bring in the Hispanic demographic and really reach out to them, because you have to internalize it. Just by putting out some words out there that are in Spanish is not really going to cut it. I mean, what do you think, Felipe?
Yeah, no, and there's two things I want to hit on that you just spoke about is education, right?
Right.
And let's start there. We have the franchisors, they have to educate, right, and promote within, right? You mentioned it earlier. Hispanics are very hardworking. Why it's only 14% of Latinos in franchising and all the franchises? Number one, that is just in such a low number. Where you mentioned earlier 2.6 trillion in buying power, right? Javier mentioned over 5 million just about in Latino-owned businesses. Why is it why is that number so small in franchising? And Louis, it's because it's our Latinos, they just don't know enough. The knowledge isn't there, and the franchisors, they do have to create that culture, and they have to promote within. And when I say promote within, meaning, hey, once if you're a franchisor and you locate a very hard worker who wants to stay, who wants to maybe one day open up their own franchise, and even within the brand, they do have to take it upon themselves and show them the ropes. Hey, this is the next step that you can do to really get you on the right path. This is what I did when I was in your position and I was just getting into franchising. And how many of those in that position are doing that, Louis? And listen, we all have a job to do, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we do need the ones that are sitting at the mountaintop to take it upon themselves and say, hey, this is the wealth of knowledge. These are the steps. Let's bring you on board and show you the ropes. And I just don't think there's enough of that's going around. And that's why the council is so important, because we have so much knowledge within the council that we want to share. But it really needs to come down to the franchisors to kind of share that wealth and say, hey, I see something in you. I think one day you can own your own brand or open up franchising. Let me show you some of the ropes.
I think one of the things that's really important to provide opportunities is, number one, speaking on behalf of a point of view of a franchisor. A franchisor has to understand and value why it's important to bring diverse candidates into the business, right? Number one, it's in the best interest for the business of the franchisor. You think about most of the businesses, you would want those franchisees to mirror those community. Going back to the ethics of Latinos, right? How hard Latinos work, the dedication, the devotion. I'll tell you that in the heart of COVID, one of the things that I'll forever be grateful when I was running Obampan, in the heart of COVID, in New York and Boston, while you've got people being protected at home and taking care of their family, you had employees coming in and working, coming into these restaurants and working as hard as they can, leaving their children. And I think that it starts off with the franchisors seeing the value of giving these opportunities. And it's really about an opportunity. It takes that one person. Now, also from the franchisor, it's not just about, like you said, translating one or two words.
Right.
If you have a mindset that those individuals have to adopt to your company in order to give them an opportunity, it doesn't work like that. It's a very mutual courting process, right?
Yeah.
So when a candidate sees that the franchisor is investing in the tools and the resources and can help that individual navigate the politics, because it's the politics, quite honestly, also that you've got to figure out how to navigate to even get awarded to be able to become a franchisee for an opportunity.
Erica, you bring up not only you're Hispanic and in franchising, but you're a Hispanic female in franchising. So, and I don't, it's hard for me, because right now you have that, breaking the glass ceiling, right? The women breaking the glass ceiling. Do you think there is a separate glass ceiling for Hispanic female entrepreneurs and professionals that they have to break, or they broke that already?
No, we've got a long way to go. Very long way. In fact, I mean, there's statistics, Latinas, whether they're on boards, or Latinas, whether they're at a CEO level or at executive level, we come very, very short in comparison to the other females. What's behind that? I personally don't know. I would love to be able to know. I have my assumptions, but there's a long way for us Latinas to get there. So I do think that we're completely in a different island on our own. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a pivot. And I do think, let me just go back to
Sure.
like you said, the ceilings. And I just don't think it's, I'm going to be a little bit more inclusive and not just for the Latinas. I think underrepresented minorities and females, particularly, just based on your question. So you break the glass ceiling.
Right.
That's great. But where's the support beyond that?
It's a good point.
I mean, that's really the question, right?
Yeah.
Because where is the support? Where are your allies? Where are your advocates?
Right.
After that.
And I think some people, not most people, but some people would argue that if we're talking about the glass ceiling and you broke that glass ceiling, you would have enough drive and initiative to continue further on past that, right? They would say, okay, well, you've done that, you've accomplished that, you've become what you achieved and what you wanted to achieve, what you wanted to become. What more else do they need? And I think there is probably, like I said, very small people that will think that way. But I agree with you 100%. I think there's a whole secondary level of support that needed to be done once you get to that point, right? For example, with Javier Toro Taxes, the majority, and I've been involved with Toro Taxes since the beginning, pretty much from the onset, and I know that the majority of franchisee owners are women, right? Now you've seen and I know a lot of these women that are franchisees, and they come from some of them from really hard backgrounds that you would never think that they would ever be to a point to where own a franchise.
No, and on what Erica was mentioning, it is true. Okay, the Latina corporate member still doesn't have that support.
Mm-hmm.
But that is at a corporate level. And that's, I guess, the reason why we see a huge percentage of Latinas getting into business.
Okay.
Right now, out of the, according to the statistics, over 60% of Latino businesses are Latinas. And in the last 5 years, the percentage is even much higher. Latinas have this entrepreneurial spirit. And it's because of what you mentioned, Erica, that there is no support once you get to that corporate level of executive, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And you still don't have the same pay, the same salary as the other executives doing the same job. Yeah. So we see that an issue with our Latinas, and I guess the option is becoming your own boss.
I often talk about opportunities, and you asked Javier a very poised question and specific question about, business and franchising, and because Toro Tax has a lot of female, right? Mm-hmm. But it's exactly the point that I was just saying, that if you're a franchisor, you've got to be intentional. You've got to have a plan.
Correct.
And I do believe that Toro Tax is intentional about who they bring in and who they recruit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it's not a coincidence that there is like a sea of females that are franchisees. I do believe that from the top of a business, that if you have that experience of hunger, of necessity, of people not opening the doors for you, not giving you the opportunity, that it takes a business mind to say, hey, I'm going to create a business for my people. And for my people that have challenges, I'm going to open those doors. And I know that firsthand because Javier Maria Jose has that mentality and has shared that with me. And I hope I'm not oversharing, but I do think that franchisors, it has to be intentional. Mm-hmm. And you've got to have that heart. And that most important, you've got to have that focus on the drive and the need. Mm-hmm. It's a win-win, right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it's a royalty game. Mm-hmm. And everybody's got to be on the same page, aligned to be able to make this a win-win and profitable business. So that's one. Now, on what makes a person successful, Latinos or females, I can speak from my history, and I can speak that even if the landscape changes in our careers and our journey, it starts off with, everybody has their personal reasons. It starts off with, in my case, it was hunger, it was starvation, right? and I'm not being literal that my child and I were hungry. What I'm being literal about is that from the get-go to this day, no matter if you've made it or you haven't, we always have to be. It's an unfortunate thing. Maybe it has served a purpose for some of us because it kicks in a different gear. But from the get-go, we all know that we come in and we already know that we look different among everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
From the get-go, we already know we're being judged. From the get-go, we know we have a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
The key is, how do we turn that disadvantage to an advantage?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can pull that one off, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's a drive that it doesn't matter what's your economic level. I believe in my personal case, it started off with necessity. It started off with self-education. It started off with having to outpace other people because whether their pedigree was higher or whether they had a complete family, whether they were Harvard graduates or their career was way further advanced than mine, or simply said, they were not a minority, right? So you've got all that going. I'm telling you that it doesn't matter how far you've made in your career. You will always have that with you. You will always, and you'll always try to be the most polished one. You'll always try to be this. You'll all be. That's just education that we were brought up with. I think that the key is, how do you figure how to take advantage of that? How do you figure to turn that stereotype into, okay, that person is sharp. That person has a great heart. That person wants to outpour and give to other people. And that's what I think makes each one of us in that council unique. Each one of us has a very different personality. Each one of us has a very different journey. But what we do have is we want to give those tools and resources. We've been there. Some of us are still there, right? The journey's not over.
Oh, no.
But how do we help other individuals?
Yeah. And, and that's important, is understanding how do we help each other and how do we help our culture, our people that are coming in, and understanding and knowing that if there is somebody of different of color, if you will, that's in our ranks, what are we going to do to make them welcomed, right? To make them feel equal, to make them feel like they're just part of the family, right? Without really making them feel like they're separate or wanting to. And sometimes it's hard to really approach that, because you don't want to be, everybody wants to be politically correct and everybody doesn't want to say anything the wrong thing and things like that, right? So there's all kinds of other dynamics that go along with that. But Felipe, in regards to Paychex, you're involved in the multicultural program that they have. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Luis. So Paychex has invested a lot of time and money in the last roughly about 6-7 years in the multicultural space. They know the numbers, they see the numbers, they read the data, how strong the Latino community is in this country. And so about 7 years ago, they started to designate MC reps throughout the country. And I was a leader in New Jersey, closing on my year. And they said, hey, we got to take it a step further, right? We established what is now the Las Vegas office, which is now fully bilingual service team. So we had a full service office that can take care of our Latino clients. We then said, hey, we need a leader that can establish in these markets where we see the opportunity for the Latinos, but currently we don't have the coverage in that space. And so I came over to the multicultural space and put these two teams, direct teams. They're full bilingual. The first two direct teams ever established at Paychex. Paychex has been around for close to 60 years. And these were the first two fully bilingual direct teams. Mm-hmm. To being a part of that and putting that together, it's life comes full circle. And I've always, in my banking years, I helped so many Latinos open bank accounts. As you know, how difficult that can be for a lot of us, making them feel that they can earn their trust. Hey, let me come in, have a conversation with me. This is what we need to do to establish your bank account. Well, Louis, I was now doing that to making sure that businesses were running correctly and they were established the right way, saying, hey, don't cut corners. I know it takes a little bit more dollars to make sure that you're set up correctly. And Paychex was able to do that by by making sure, hey, there's parts of the country where they don't have coverage for fully bilingual. Let's put those two direct teams together, and we did that, right? So we did that for the last 2 years, and then more recently, I was given an opportunity to cover the whole multicultural space for the whole East. So that's what I do now. And not only do I support the sales team, but I strategize and say, hey, what are certain markets doing very well within the MC space, and what can we be doing better? So that's what I currently do now. And Paychex has just done a tremendous job of really giving opportunity, and not only that, but investing in the Latino community, and I try to bring back opportunities to them to say, hey, I think we should really get involved here, or hey, we should really focus in this area, and there's tremendous opportunity. And really, we're just, for myself, is really just try to give as back knowledge back as possible, whether it's in the banking or the HCM space, which I'm currently in, have been in for the last 15 years. I'm just really proud that Paychex to be working for a company that sees that the value in the Latino community and is looking to not only invest their time, but their money in as much as possible to grow, continue to support it.
Do you have organizations, franchise or otherwise, that go to you guys and say, hey, listen, we want to open our market to more diversity, open up to Latinos and Hispanics? And what are you doing? And do you have that happen? And what do you do?
Yeah, listen. So we have what we call our strategy, our strategic accounts team, right? That's where Abby and some of these people that you guys have known really work within the franchising world, and they have been for over 15, some 20 years. And we have companies like, I don't know for a fact what names, so I don't want to throw out any names that and misquote any of them. But I know for a fact that that Abby comes to me all the time and says, hey, these are some of the things that I'm looking for your help and support. Again, I don't know.
We love you, Abby.
Yes, I love you, Abby. And again, I don't want to throw any brands in there that I'm not 100% sure on. But I know I meet with them all the time with some of my colleagues and Bill and Abby that work with these franchising brands, that they're constantly saying, hey, what more can we do in the multicultural space? Because I've had a good conversations at some of the conferences that we've been at.
Right.
Well, I mean, look what they did with us.
Right.
When we were forming and we were planning our event. I mean, you had the whole executive team meeting with us and trying to figure out how we could work together. I mean, that is one of the that is one of the companies that I can say, they mean what they say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can see what the level of investment of bringing you on. Right?
For sure.
You value them. We value them, that they value you so much, you know?
Exactly.
For sure.
And they couldn't have gotten a better
person
to build trust. Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I know we have a lot of experience here. How do we know any successful Hispanic owned franchises today that can really serve as models? I mean, it's one of those kind of things that I don't know if it's a question that makes us think about it, or can we automatically say yes, this particular franchisor? I mean, and I know, I don't know. I mean, do you guys have anything in mind? Anybody, any organization in mind?
Well, for me, it does make me think. I'm trying really hard to think about it, but of course, you guys have a little bit, much more experience in the franchise and probably know a lot of more brands. But for me, it makes me think. Which one comes to mind?
So it's funny because and I'm sorry, it was kind of a trick question. And the reason why I do it, because I asked my kids, I said, my girls, I said, girls, give me 5 fun things that don't cost nothing. Well, we can go to the bowling. No, you got to pay for that. And I asked them, give me 5 things that is fun that you can pay for it and everything. Just like things start winning everything out, right? So, I guess the reason why I asked that question is we need to get to a point in franchising where we can say what brand is really doing a great incentive in the Hispanic market, and we could just boom, 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 boom. Because why? That exposed the exposure that they have to the IFA. We had a great meeting today with the IFA. Great meeting. I think it's a step forward in the right direction. Do I think there's a lot more to go? I think there's a lot more to go. But this is the first step to the right direction into understanding and knowing that once I pose that question next year or the following year, that we're going to be able to rattle off franchise brands like that are going to be supportive. we know that they're inclusive in that market, right? So I apologize for the trick question, but I think it proved my point.
It did. It did. And you're absolutely right. Because I'm brutally honest, it made me think, and I still thinking about it. So you're absolutely right. And I love that point that hopefully a year from now, we can just come up with a couple names or, within time.
And I mean, like we'll put total taxes out there. How many brands, how many units do you have now?
We have about 250 right now in 30 states and 18 territories.
So how many of those units are Hispanic owned?
I will say 99.9%.
Well, there's your
There it
answer.
is.
Yeah, I was gonna say total taxes.
Yeah, 9.9%. I think there's a few other guys that I know that are non-Hispanic that own the total tax brands, but there's a huge thing, and I think because the founders are Hispanic, the founders are Latinos, I think it was a natural. And it was naturally easy for them to get into that market, and because they speak the same language,
and they understand.
And again, that going back into my point across earlier was, in order for brands to be successful in the market, and like Toro Taxes has been within the Hispanic franchise field, they've naturally internalized it because they're all Hispanics, obviously. But the C-suite guys, and gals, they don't quite understand where to go. And I think this is where the Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council is important. Could really lead that drive, really lead in that direction. I think this is where one should be one of our top 3 missions.
And just to mention, the problem that a lot of these I guess franchisors and the C-suite is that they do not include a Latino in the development of the Latino community reach out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they think that by speaking the language, you're okay. That's it. Okay, let's go after the Latino market only because you graduated with a master's degree in Spanish in one of these universities, and it doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. You really need to know the culture, and the culture is what makes a huge difference with our community. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to get up there and talk to your community, and they will understand what the difference between tacos, pupusas, ceviche, and all that stuff. And the only way that you could send that message, it's by being part of it.
Right. Yep. Right. And that's the key. You have to integrate your company into that, into that culture somehow, some way. Figure that out. And really, what best way for a company to really to do that is through working with a group like ourselves, like a group of people like ourselves. So we're here where there's a lot of power within each and every one of us, and ideas and experiences that we can help that C-suite person to really engage with them and understand. And so we're excited because I know we're going to get into, we're probably time to wrap this. We could probably talk for another 20, 30 minutes, probably, if not all day. But I think that we're getting ready to really take it to the next level. I think today here at the IFA in Washington, D.C. was a great stepping forward. I think this is what we need to keep up that momentum and get it going. And I think from this point towards the back end of 23 and the start of 24, I think we're going to really see a big jump in what we're going to do. I think there's going to be so much stuff, and I can't wait for Phoenix. So IFA convention, Phoenix, February 2024, the 25th, I think it is. Something. It's on February 2024 in Phoenix, Arizona. We are the council is planning the 18th,
February the 18th.
February 18th, 2024,
maybe through the 17th. From the 17th through the
date to be determined.
Yeah, but it's in February.
Yeah, it's in February. And we are planning something we won't disclose what that is, but what our council is going to plan something very, very nice, very educational, very informative, and of course, very fun. I mean, that's what we're going to do, right? If Javier is involved, it's going to be fun.
There's music.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we're excited. So I am so excited to have each and every one of you here at the podcast. And this is the first of many. I think if we continue and give updates, I think that'd be great.
Absolutely.
I think that it's a first for me. This is my first mobile broadcast.
Yay.
So I'm excited in Washington,
First of
DC.
many.
First of many to see, right? And I'm so excited to have you guys on here. This is great. We miss you, Roberto. I know that you couldn't make it, but we do miss you, and we love you just the same.
Can I say something before you wrap it up?
I was going to just ask.
I don't want to interrupt, but I do. I would, on behalf of the council, I think it's really critical that we extend our heartfelt thank you for the individuals, especially the sponsors that you've been working with, Louis, that have expressed an interest and continue to be advocates for this council of wanting to be part of events or how they could be a part of it or what they can do to work together moving forward. And so it's just a special thank you to those companies.
Yeah. And thank you. You guys know who you are. Really good friends and good friends of me personally, good friends of the council as well. So have you had anything, Felipe, anything last words before we close out?
Just inviting everybody to reach out to us.
Okay.
Any questions? I mean, we have members that are very involved with franchising for many years, and I guess that we will have the answers. And if we don't have the answers, we will get them. Just call us, reach out to us, and because you will be able to take your brand, your business to a different level, and we would like to see you doing that.
Oh, great! That's great. Well, thank you again for everybody for being on Z to Z podcast out here in Washington, D.C. We're excited to learn more about the council and hear more about the council, obviously. So stay tuned for more in 2024. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sí se puede.
Exactamente.
Thank you, Erica, Javier, and Felipe, for your inspiring messages. And thank you all for being on Z to Z. I really enjoyed having you on the show. I'm looking forward to another opportunity to have everyone on again. As always, you can go to z2z.com to listen to all of our previous episodes, or you can always listen on Z to Z on Spotify or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And please subscribe, like, and hit the heart button. We appreciate your support. I like to end the podcast with one of my favorite quotes. At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. Frida Kahlo. Until next time.